Now we start Unit 3 and the title is Memory. Like other units, again we start a pre-listening task with a list of questions. We're going to read this question, think about them, and then comes a very short briefing talk about the topic of memory and what people think about memory and their ideas. So, question number 1. What is memory and how does it work? Number 2. What is your earliest memory? 3. How good is your memory? Are you good at remembering dates, telephone numbers, people's names, facts for exams, books or jokes you've had, and films you've seen? 4. How important is a good memory in learning English? And 5. What makes us remember certain things but forget others? 6. What methods do you use to remind yourself of past events? And 7. What do long-term memory and short-term memory mean? And 8. How can we improve our memory? These are the possible questions regarding memory. Now, the answers. Memory can be defined as the capacity to keep information available for later use, process by which people store and retrieve information, data. I've got a photographic memory, some people would say. Others would say, I have a memory like a sieve. One might say, I have a bad memory for dates, names, telephone numbers. Some other people might say, it suddenly escaped my mind. It's on the tip of my tongue and I just can't place it. If I remember correctly, I think we've met before. He recited the poem from memory. To learn a foreign language well, a good memory is a must, is an advantage. Everyone has a long-term memory and a short-term memory. A short-term memory is temporary as it is stored for a very short time in the brain. Short-term memory is sometimes called working memory, which is a more general term for storage of temporary information. Memory is critical to humans. Almost all of our daily activities, talking, reading, working, socializing, they all depend on having our stored information about the environment. Memory allows us to retrieve events even though they happened in the distant past and makes it possible for us to learn the new skills and to form habits. Without memory, life would become a series of disconnected experiences. There are three major types of memory: sensory memory, which is the recording of information through our sensory system; short-term memory or working memory, which is the temporary storing of information; and long-term memory, which refers to the storing of information for a longer period of time. For short-term memory to become permanent, it requires attention, repetition, and associated ideas. If we are attentive and actively involved in remembering something and are able to relate it to other ideas, our short-term memory will develop into long-term memory. After this briefing talk about memory, we're going to listen to the recording and answer the listening comprehension question afterwards. Thank you. At the end of the introductory talk in chapter 6, there is this question: is hard work more important for success than luck? There are two different answers, two different perspectives as answer, positive and negative to the question. I'm going to read both. Talent, hard work, and luck each can play an important role in success, but although there are cases where someone becomes successful because they are exceptionally talented or lucky, such cases are very rare. Most successful people fall into the second category, that is, they have to achieve success through hard work. The world runs on the law of cause and effect. Success is not accidental. When you work hard to improve your abilities and skills, you increase your chances of success. It's hard to imagine someone, however talented or lucky they are, becoming a successful football player without practicing really hard. Success is the result of hard work. Sometimes, however, luck does seem to play a role in success, but just as the saying goes, opportunity favors those who are prepared. Those who don't work hard would not be able, those who don't work hard would not be able to recognize or take advantage of a good opportunity when it comes their way. Luck is an elusive thing. We can never count on luck for success. It is hard work that holds the key to success. And now I'm going to read the answer from the perspective of another student, which is negative. I agree that hard work is important for success, but the role of luck is far more important than we would like to believe. It is true that most successful people are hard workers, but there are many people who are as talented and work as hard, if not harder, yet never achieve success. Hard work is perhaps a necessary prerequisite for success, but who among the hardworking becomes successful is largely a matter of luck. When we look at the lives of successful people, we see that success often comes from being at the right place at the right time. People usually attribute Napoleon's phenomenal success to his military talent, but he was successful also because he had the good luck to be born in a revolutionary period that gave him the opportunity to use his talent to the full. Had he lived in peaceful times, he could hardly have achieved what he did. Similarly, had Bill Gates been born in a place where he had no access to computer, he would never have founded the Microsoft Corporation. Talent and hard work are not sufficient for success. Other factors over which we can hardly have control, such as family origin and our birthplace, also play a part in determining whether we will become somebody or nobody. All in all, I think hard work is essential to success, but so is luck. Now it's time to listen to the recordings. Now here it is, Unit 5 on friendship. Again, like other units, we're going to have some pre-listening tasks and a list of questions. I'm going to read them to you, and it's good to think about them and come up with some possible answers. After that, I'm going to have an introductory talk about friendship. Number 1, do you have many friends? How important are they to you? 2, what is true friendship? 3, what kind of friends do you think are true friends? Number 4, what kind of friends do you want to make friends with? 5, how do you make friends? And 6, how can we keep friendship alive? And now I'm going to read some sayings about friendship. A good friend is a friend for life. A friend in need is a friend indeed. A friend is, as it were, a second half. A friend is, as it were, a second self. A friend is one whom you can count on, you can trust, you can talk to. A friend is someone who will help you if you are in trouble, listen to you when you talk about your problems. Real friends are friends forever, friends for life. A friend is a person before whom I may think aloud. Life without friends is like life on an island. A person can have many friends but only one or two bosom friends. Friendship involves affection and intimacy. Friendship is based on warmth, trust, and shared experience. True friendship is a plant of slow growth. It is like health, the value of which is seldom known until it is lost, and it can stand the test of time. I'd like to make friends with those who are honest, sincere, kind-hearted, reliable, thoughtful, caring, generous, and compassionate. Sharing your friend's sorrow is the way to show your deep friendship with them. The only way to have a friend is to be one. If you tell your joy to your friend, your joy will double. And if you pour your sorrow to your friend, your sorrow will be reduced by half. Sharing your joy and sorrow with your friends, keeping your friends informed about yourself, remembering important days in your friends' lives can nurture friendship. What is friendship? According to the American philosopher Ralph Emerson, truthfulness and tenderness are the two elements that make up friendship. Truthfulness and tenderness. In his famous essay, Friendship, Emerson wrote, "A friend is a person before whom I may think aloud." That is to say, friendship is built on complete trust between people. Our friends are very important to us. We need friends to share our experiences, our joys, and sorrows. In times of difficulty, our friends are usually the ones we turn to for advice, for comfort, and for courage. It's unimaginable how one could live without friends. Now, after this introductory talk about friendship, we're going to listen to the recordings and then the listening comprehension questions come after. So, we need to have our pens and pencils to jot down the necessary detailed information in order not to forget them later. Thank you. After introductory talk about opinion polls, we're going to listen to the recordings. Number 1. What is an opinion poll? Number 2. How are opinion polls conducted? Number 3. What topics are usually surveyed in opinion polls? And 4. Have you ever been asked to participate in an opinion poll? If yes, what was it about? And 5. What is the use and value of opinion polls? 6. What factors affect the accuracy of opinion polls? And 7. Do you think opinion polls are true reflection of public opinion? Why or why not? For the introduction, I'm going to read some of the answers to the questions just mentioned. An opinion poll is a survey of public opinion on a certain subject, a study in which people are asked for their opinions about a certain subject or a certain person. A snapshot of the opinions of a group of people at a particular time. When conducting a survey, pollsters ask a representative sample of their opinions and then generalize their findings to the larger population. Public opinion surveys are conducted by telephone, by email, mail, in person, or online. Polling topics can be as diverse as public policies, controversial social issues, elections, consumer preferences, and academic research projects. Opinion polls provide the best direct source of information about public opinion. Polls give people an opportunity to express their views on issues that affect their lives. In politics, polls are used to obtain information about people's, voters' attitudes toward issues and candidates, help politicians make decisions, help analysts predict the result of an election, a political campaign. Business polls are used to find out what potential customers want, customers like or dislike about a product or service. Factors that affect the accuracy of opinion polls include sample size, number of questions, interviewing skills, etc. In general, the larger the size of the sample, the more reliable the results are. The sample of a poll must be representative of the whole population. A biased sample, no matter how large, cannot be trusted. Inappropriately phrased questions may affect poll result and reduce the reliability of a poll. In order to ensure the accuracy of poll results, interview questions must be properly worded and tested before use. The sample scientifically selected and the data from the poll correctly analyzed. Many people doubt the reliability of opinion polls, are not convinced that the opinions of a small sample of the population are a reliable representation of the opinions of the whole. If the sample of a poll is well selected, it represents a near replica of the entire population. Some polls are unreliable, biased, not accurate. They are based on samples that are too small or badly chosen. The questions they ask are confusing and can actually distort public opinion. Polls sponsored by interest groups should always be taken with caution. Poll questions can be framed and samples chosen to produce answers favorable to the interest group. An opinion poll is a survey of public opinion on a certain subject. The making of a poll involves 5 essential steps. Number 1, the research design or how to plan a poll. 2, the sample or whom to ask. 3, the question design or what to ask. 4, techniques of collecting data or how to ask. And 5, the analysis of the findings. Opinion polls were used as early as 1824 by 2 American newspapers to test the strengths of presidential candidates. The polling methods used in those polls, however, were very crude as the samples were haphazardly selected. It was not until the 1930s that the more scientific methods were introduced in public opinion polling, which led to the huge popularity of polls in modern times. Now, opinion polls have become an integral part of social life in many countries. National and statewide polls regularly sample public opinion on different topics and publish the results in newspapers and magazines. After this introductory talk, we're going to listen to the recordings and then later we're going to answer the listening comprehension questions. Thank you. Two different arguments with different positive and negative perspectives. The question is, should the doctor practice mercy killing in this case? From a perspective of a dying man's son, which is positive, my father was diagnosed with a brain tumor 2 years ago. Last June, a neurosurgeon removed the tumor, but to try to kill any remaining tumor cells, my father had to undergo radiotherapy and chemotherapy, alternatively, VIX. The treatment made him sick and he lost all appetite for food, and he has to be fed through a tube let down into his nose. 2 months ago, his situation worsened even more. Tumor cells were found in his bones, which caused great pain to him and seriously impaired his ability to move. All day and night, he can only lie on his back, unable even to turn. Seeing him in this condition breaks my heart. He used to be such an energetic person, always busy working and never idle for a moment. But now his illness has reduced him to a motionless being. In his waking moments, he begs me to stop the treatment and let him die in dignity. I know the pain is killing him. As medicine has proved useless in his case, I think mercy killing may be the only way to end my father's suffering. It's meaningless to prolong his life when there is no chance of recovery. Now, from the perspective of a doctor, which is negative, I don't think I can say yes to the request of the patient's son. The patient in this case is indeed suffering from great pain, but we can't say that there is no chance for him to recover. The science of medicine is advancing very fast, and new drugs to treat cancer are being developed almost daily. If we do our best to preserve his life, we may be able to save his life after all. I think a doctor's duty is above all to preserve a patient's life, not to terminate it. A doctor can never state that his patient has no chance of recovery, no matter how bad the situation may seem. There have been many cases in which a patient miraculously survives a serious condition. Medical records have shown that people may suddenly awake from a coma that has lasted months or even years. Human life may be less fragile than we realize, and human being is too precious for us to terminate. As for mercy killing, I think it is a more an ethical issue than a medical one. It is not for the doctor to decide whether to preserve or terminate a human being's life. There must be laws that we can act in accordance with. Besides, mercy killing, if not properly administered, may expose sick people to all kinds of danger. So, according to the present law, I'm afraid no doctor in our country would agree to practice mercy killing on the patient. And now we're going to listen to the recordings.